Hello goldfish, squids and other lovely sea creatures, I'm Octopus and today I'm back to my gears for King of the Sea. Actually, tomorrow it is gonna be the 13th of September, so it is gonna be the very first day of King of the Sea season 11 if I'm not mistaken, and I will be casting this tournament, at least the first days of this tournament. Currently, I'm installing a bunch of stuff that I need to install. It is gonna take quite a bit of time, several hours to be honest, because the installer is kinda slow, but whatever. Organizers are just amazing, so big thank you to them for allowing me to actually stream some matches of this tournament. But today we want to talk about not King of the Sea, but the next rank season. It is gonna be tier 10 rank season. So let me just switch off Discord in a moment. There we go. So yeah, rank season, it is gonna be in tier 10. I'm not sure how many. I didn't bother to check. I think it is 7 versus 7 or 8 versus 8, something like this. So we're gonna talk about my recommended ships for this season. And at the very end of the video, we are gonna open the containers. I didn't open yet my super containers. I collected 31 or 32 super containers, plus some other containers for with some flags. So this is not 42 super containers, what you are seeing here, but it is actually 31 or 32, I'm not completely sure, plus some other containers mixed in. So we are gonna open all of these at once to make it shorter. So, and we will see what we can get from them at the end of the video. But yeah, let's start with the ships then. Of course, since it's tier 10 and carriers are allowed, of course, one of the best choices will be, of course, carriers. And I mean, there is no weak choice when it comes to carriers at tier 10 at least. So if you are a CV player, just play whatever carrier you like and whatever carrier you feel comfortable in, and you're gonna be more than fine. I would suggest go for Hakuryu and Manfred from Richthofen first, because they have AP bombers, so you can delete cruisers and battleships with ease. Richthofen doesn't deal well against destroyers, but this is the only weakness, let's say, about that ship. Everything else is just amazing. So Richthofen, absolutely tier 1 when it comes to carriers. Hakuryu, second place. Midway, third, and fourth place, I would say Audacious, only because the bombers can be a little bit wonky sometimes. But yeah, absolutely, Audacious can absolutely wreck destroyers with rockets. So every carrier is overpowered and is gonna have a huge impact in the game, even if I mean, whoever plays those carriers. Then let's talk about destroyers. Where can I do this? Okay, so destroyers. Shimakaze, absolutely not recommended. You don't have firepower, I mean, with your guns. You have a lot of torpedoes, but they're spotted from the moon. And the fact that you don't have any kind of AA, this is obviously a downside. Honestly, I can just say the same thing for a lot of destroyers. For example, Gearing, Somers, Z52, all these destroyers lack the firepower and the utilities, the consumables to actually be useful for their team. So in my opinion, I mean, also Khabarovsk is a tremendous choice. So the only destroyers that I can see somewhat valuable are Holland. Absolutely amazing AA, good torpedoes, decent firepower. You don't have smoke, but you can make up for it by building for AA, for example. So Holland, absolutely one of the best picks as destroyers. Then Småland, the premium one, the one that has radar instead of defensive AA, very good utility for your team, and also decent firepower, even better than Holland if I'm not mistaken. So absolutely, Småland and Holland, the two pan-European destroyers, are gonna be very useful choices. Next to them, Daring, you have access to British smoke, so there is a very fast cooldown. You have defensive hydro, you have heal, so you are a good all-round destroyer that can absolutely wreck other destroyers and can also deal a significant amount of damage to other ships. You lack a decent AA, but the fact that you have plenty of smokes to just disengage from planes, it is gonna save you sometimes. So absolutely daring after the two pan-European destroyers, it is one of the best choices, in my opinion at least. Grozovoi, I'm not sure. It is not trash, but it is not great. So if you don't have any other thing and you want to play destroyers, really want to play destroyers, you can try Grozovoi, but honestly, I wouldn't recommend Grozovoi, even if, as I said, it is not the worst. And then Harugumo. I don't think Harugumo is gonna be any good in this season because you are clumsy, your concealment is not great, your AA is not great either. You have extremely good firepower, but once again, I don't know, with the whole bunch of raiders that you're gonna face, I don't think you're gonna be able to just sit in the smoke and farm and rack up a super good amount of damage. So plus, if you're the only destroyer in your team and there is a carrier in your team, you're basically useless because you're not gonna be able to cap anything. Or I mean, if the enemy CV has any clue of what she's doing, she's gonna deny you the caps, and the other destroyer is gonna have an easy time outspotting you probably. So nah, Harugumo not recommended. Then Kleber, absolutely, the one that I don't have yet. Kleber absolutely can be fun, but once again, the fact that there are gonna be so many carriers, it is gonna affect you a lot. So Kleber, once again, not recommended. I mean, if you're not facing carriers, why not? But since I predict that there will be carriers in almost every game, Kleber, it is gonna have a huge issues to put into use its strength. Same deal almost for Marceau. Marceau, the premium tier 10 French destroyer, it has defensive AA, but its AA is nowhere near as good as Haaland one. I'm not sure where can I find Marceau. Let me check if I can find it in the tech tree. No. Where do I find Marceau? In the armory maybe? Let's see. Do we find Marceau in the armory or not? Just to take a look at the AA values of Marceau. Yeah, how about no? Ships. Shikishima Sail Marceau. There it is. Show import. Let's see. As you can see, continuous damage 182. Even if you buff this to, I don't know, even 300, even if you can reach 300, which I doubt, it is not gonna save you. I mean, you have the defensive AA consumable, but once again, when you're out of the consumable, your AA is almost trash. So if you compare this to, for example, Haaland AA, you can see the difference. This is 432. I mean, this is full AA, okay? I mean, the only thing that I'm missing is BFT, but I'm running this upgrade here to buff my AA as much as I can. So Marceau AA is not even comparable to Haaland one, so don't expect Marceau to shred down any plane. I mean, unless the enemy CV just walks into your flag. So Marceau and Kleber, not really. Yu Yang, absolutely not recommended. I mean, if Gearing is weak, Yu Yang is even weaker because you cannot torp enemy destroyers, and your firepower is being crippled down so much. So Yu Yang, absolutely no. Summers, if you're not finding carriers, maybe, but once again, you are kind of a selfish destroyer because you're not you're not bad at dueling with, around caps, but you're not good either. You're a torpedo focused boat ship, and I'm not sure. I don't see torpedo boats being that useful and that good in this season, but I might be wrong, so I'm not sure. At first glance, I would say no, but we will see. I think we are done with destroyers. I'm thinking if there is any premium destroyer at tier 10 that I didn't mention yet, but I don't think there are so far. So let's move on to cruisers. Ignore this. Cruisers. I think this season is gonna be rough for cruisers as always, because usually when you play cruisers in ranked, you want to play cruisers that have some actual utility for the team. But usually this means that you are gonna play in a much more stationary position. I mean, if you watched videos and streams on this channel, you know that I played Atlanta, for example, in the 2 seasons ago, and in the last season I played Baltimore, which are both radar cruisers that love to play stationary. Okay, so and we were quite successful in those cruisers, but carriers were an issue in season at tier 8, absolutely. And when we played Atlanta, there were no carriers. So plus in Parsifal, the tier 8 carrier was a huge issue in Baltimore at tier 8. So I cannot even imagine playing Des Moines against a Manfred from Richthofen, so at tier 10. So depending on the amount of carriers in the game, I mean, if there are a lot of carriers, all the cruisers like Des Moines, Moskva, Stalingrad, even Petropavlovsk can really struggle positioning themselves, even Booster, positioning themselves in a useful position to actually use their radars, okay, and use their consumables. So I think that a lot of cruiser players will just go for HE spamming cruisers like Zhao, I don't know, Henry maybe, Hindenburg. But even if all these cruisers suffer heavily from the carrier presence, of course, but at least you are not gonna be forced, let's say, to be stuck in a position behind an island and be an easy target for the enemy carrier. So I'm not sure if there are a lot of carriers. I mean, honestly, if there are a lot of carriers, don't play cruisers, honestly. I mean, every single cruiser in the game gains a lot of value by its positioning and its concealment, which are two things that CVs actually deny, both of them. So you want to have your user concealment in Zao, Venezia, and position in Henry Hindenburg to just roam around and farm, and you want to use your positioning in Moskva, Stalingrad, Worcester, Des Moines, Petropavlovsk to actually play around islands and surprise the enemy ships or whatever. So all cruisers suffer heavily from the carrier presence. So unless you want, I mean, besides Smolensk, all the other cruisers suffer heavily from the carrier presence. So if there are carriers, don't play cruisers. If there are no carriers, play whatever cruiser you like, and you know that you are successful in it, and you are gonna be fine. So no weak choices and no best choices either, in my opinion. Just know how to play your ship. Battleships. Let's see. Well, let's start with the premium ones that I own at least. So Bourgogne, I don't think it is going to be a decent choice, in the sense that Bourgogne can actually just farm HE and surprise potatoes with shooting AP on their broadsides, and it is a very selfish battleship in the sense that you're basically playing, mostly at least, for saving your star. Same deal with Thunder. They are different but similar in the final outcome, in the sense that you're playing to save your star. Same deal with Conqueror, for example. So these three, if you're playing Conqueror, Bourgogne, or Thunder, you're basically saying, oh, okay, fuck it, I'm gonna deal my damage, and I'm hoping that my team is gonna win the match for me. So even if we are losing, I will just try to farm as much damage as I can to save my star. This is the mind process behind choosing Thunder, Conqueror, or Bourgogne. Slava, I don't think it is gonna be a viable choice, because once again, if you play Slava, you absolutely need people to show you broadsides. If people are angling towards you and you cannot overmatch any cruiser, you are basically useless. So, plus in ranked, sometimes it happens to you to actually get into close range fights, and Slava dispersion at close range, it is questionable, let's say. Sometimes it is decent, but mostly it is questionable. So, Slava, I don't think it is gonna shine. On the other hand, Ohio, the other research bureau Battleship, it is going to be an amazing pick in my opinion, because you have secondaries, you have decent guns, you have the overmatch capacity to actually overmatch cruisers, most of them at least, and absolutely, and you have fast reloading heals as well. So absolutely, Ohio, it is going to be one of the best picks in my opinion. Shikishima, I don't think so. If you want to play ships like Shikishima, just play Yamato, because in ranked it is going to be much more consistent than Shikishima. So these are the premium ones, if I'm not mistaken. So let's go to Kurfürst. Kurfürst, underwhelming guns in the sense that dispersion, it is still questionable. Plus your hull, your German hull, your thick, fat German hull, it's so many penetrations from every single angle, basically, that I don't think, I mean, you don't get Citadel, but you eat such an insane amount of damage, both from AP and HE. So, plus your firing angles, you are insanely trash, especially if you're going forward. So, Kurfürst, you know that I don't like the ship, and I will never recommend the ship for ranked. Yes, if it happens to you to actually brawl someone with your secondaries and your turtleback, you might be successful. But if you face someone that actually knows how to play around your few strengths, you are gonna struggle so hard. So Kurfürst not recommended in my book, at least. Kremlin, absolutely one of the best picks, as always. Russian battleships shine. If you have Kuznetsov, even more, but even if you don't have Kuznetsov, Kremlin is an absolute monster. You're extremely tanky, both from medium to long range, and even at close range. If you don't give broadside, you are so tanky. Your turret thrust is amazing. Your dispersion at medium to close range is pinpoint accuracy. So absolutely no downsides in playing Kremlin, besides the fact that you have a huge Citadel if you are facing AP bombers. This is one of the few weaknesses of the Kremlin, and the fact that your AA has been nerfed. One of the few things that shouldn't be nerfed on the Kremlin have been nerfed by Wargaming, but whatever. So yeah, if you are not facing, I mean, your only hard counter are Manfred from Richthofen and Hakuryu. I mean, carriers in general, but especially these two. If you can avoid being dropped by the carriers, Kremlin is absolutely one of the best picks. Same deal for Yamato. In Yamato, you're gonna play more far back than Kremlin, of course, but you're gonna be stuck nosing a lot of times. And I don't know, Yamato can be both very good if you have a decent team that actually helps you, and you don't that doesn't leave you alone and doesn't play extra selfish, because you need help, you need support to be effective in Yamato. You are not a good ship when you play on your own, on solo. So if you find competent teams, I would say Yamato can have some space. But of course, as always, you have to keep in mind that you have a huge Citadel, okay? You have this weakness here as well. So if you're facing Yamatos and Shikishimas, you know that it is gonna be no Citadels against no Citadels stuff. So absolutely keep your angles when you play Yamato and avoid brawling situations. This is the weakness of Yamato. I mean, besides the vulnerability to HE spam, I mean, because unless HE are gonna land on your deck, your belt armor is 32 millimeters everywhere, okay? So if you're facing IFHE light cruisers or even heavy cruisers, they can absolutely deal a insane amount of damage from medium to close range on your broadside if you don't have your guns pointed to punish them. So Yamato has a lot of weaknesses, especially at close range fights. So you're gonna be stuck playing from medium to long range, and in ranked this can be an issue. So if you want to play Yamato, try it out, but a very, I don't know, questionable pick. Montana, questionable pick for different reasons. Unlike Yamato, you don't have the overmatch capacity. You have a much less exposed citadel, as you can see here. You have a waterline citadel basically, so this can help you sometimes, but it is not nothing. I mean, you can get citadel easily, so do not show broadside in Montana. The fact that you have 12 guns, it is an advantage. Of course, you have a huge broadsiding firepower, but having 406s nowadays, it is a downside, as I said, because you cannot overmatch anything that is above 27 millimeters of armor. So Montana, if you are allowed to actually flank and surprise people broadsiding you, okay, why not? But I don't know. I wouldn't recommend Montana, honestly. It is not as trash as other picks, but it is definitely one of the worst picks, in my opinion. So I think we talked about every battleship at tier 10, if I'm not mistaken. We mentioned the ones that I don't own, which are Ohio and Shikishima. And yeah, so basically this is it. It is gonna be a quite fast video. I mean, I didn't go through every single ship, why yes and why not for everyone, because I mean, I wanted to do that in a much shorter way than usual. And yeah, also I have some stuff to attend for King of the Sea, as I said. So this is gonna be it, guys. Then now we can actually open our super containers and some other containers that are mixed in. So let's see what we can find in these containers now. Okay, let's go. Opening 42 containers. Oh, okay. So interesting. We found a ship, actually, a quite weak ship, honestly, the Hood, tier 7 UK battleship, but we found a fuck ton of doubloons, 8,000 doubloons, 1 month of premium account, which is not bad, 46k coal almost. I mean, this should be 45, but there were also some other containers mixed in. Well, this is not doesn't really count. A bunch of camos, Regia Marina, Victory Salute are good. These are French Riviera, which is meh. This is World Warships Anniversary, which are garbage. A huge amount of Basilic's flag, Victor Lima, which are useful. India Delta is useful. A huge ton of Hydra, only 5 Sheila and the Red Dragon, and a bunch of other flags here and there. So I'm pretty satisfied. I was hoping for some steel, honestly, because I'm like 600-700 short, still short from Shikishima, and I was hoping to get like 1.5k steel from all these super containers. But hey, it is what it is. I'm not complaining though. I'm absolutely not complaining. This is interesting. Let's see the Hood. This is the very first ship that I get from a super container, actually. It never happened to me so far. This is the very first time. So I can say that I found a ship from a super container. So where is the Hood? She should be somewhere around here. Where is she? Oh, there she is. Hood and a 10-point captain. As you can see, Hood is... I mean, the dispersion on those guns is atrociously bad. He has 381 millimeters, 8 of them in 4 twin turrets, as you can see. The citadel of the Hood is waterline, okay, but it is not that difficult to actually citadel Hood, which, I mean, as you can see, citadel, the shape of the citadel, it is quite weird, but it is very thinly armored, so Hood doesn't have a extra good protection. I mean, he has some kind of turtle back, as you can see, She has some kind, but it is not gonna prevent the enemy ships from actually citadeling you. Absolutely, maybe at close range, but at medium to long range, you're gonna get citadel absolutely. Plus Hood is one of the few ships that has improved penetration angles actually on the AP. So we are gonna try this out, absolutely. So yeah, I'm pretty satisfied. So that's it, guys. I hope you found this video enjoyable or useful. If you did, subscribe to the channel if you didn't already. Leave a comment with your thoughts and which ships you're gonna you think you're gonna be playing this season, the tier 10 rank season. And I wish you good luck and not too much salty seas, let's say. And I will catch you, I hope, on tomorrow on Sunday. You're gonna see this video, you're gonna watch this video later, but I want you to know that tomorrow it is gonna be the first day of King of the Sea, and I will hopefully see you around. So guys, once again, thank you for watching, and I will catch you next time.